It's taken me a long time to work out what I'm going to do with this area here. I knew I had to do a new signal box, and that's the signal box that I've built, so that's going to go over there. I've also now constructed a sort of floor area, so the floor area will go down there, signal box on top, this little hut will go down there, then this sort of fencing that I found in my my little box of bits, that's going to go sort of just around the back to support that, and then there's another little bit going in there which is a gate. This is from the I wish I knew where I got this from. This is a little box of stone walling, and this comes with a little gate section, so the little gate section is going to go in there, so there will be a gate so the signalman can walk through into his signal box, and of course normal pedestrians will come through the over the path from the level crossing, which isn't fixed yet. So that's where we are at the moment. Now, one little thing that I've done with this, because sorry, let's get that out of the way. Because this is at an angle, when that piece joined onto it, it wouldn't join properly. Excuse me. So with all the filing and everything, you end up with quite a bit of sort of dust and powder. So with a couple of drops of super glue in there, so super glue in there, and then powder chucked on top, let it to set off, and great, so that did that bit of filling. When it's painted, it's going to be good. Now this section here was virtually the same as that, so it's not actually in line. So again, we put the powder in, and then I sanded it down, just a bit of rough sandpaper, and I sanded it down and then score it, and scored when it's completely repainted. Hopefully, I say hopefully, you'll never see it. Now the other side of that, you can see the gap we had. So that's the gap that was there, but that side's never going to be seen. So and this is all glued on with super glue onto the base that's going to be painted properly, so it looks like paving. So that's where we are now. So I'm going to find a gate and get it measured up nicely, and then we can put the gate in there, glue that on, and then this can go in position where it's supposed to go. As you can see, I've put a couple of rocks in place before I do the final sort of dressing, and then I realised I've got this space here, so all at that end of my layout I've got to do something. So this is what I decided to do. I've got some more of this thin polystyrene from wherever it came from, so I'm thinking of having that as a sort of a low level of a hedge, and a scenery on that side, and then hopefully bring this down so it reaches the track. Now, what I did, I got the Sharpie pen and one of my longer carriages, and literally I just put it on the side of the carriage and went along like that, which is going to give me a good idea of how far I can come out when I build this bank to come down. And that's how the mark has been, so I know how far I can build this out now. So I'm going to get some more of that polystyrene, and I'm going to put just little bits and little bits and little bits until I can build it up, and then I'll put mod rock on it, and then we'll do the whole lot all the way along. So things are underway. We've now got the polystyrene stuck on. I just stuck a couple of trees in there to see what the effect would be, and yeah, I think we can make it look reasonably good. So that's going around there. Now cutting the polystyrene, that's, you can see all the slopes and everything. It's a smashing little tool. I'm sure you've seen them all before. I've just got mine stuck. Give me a second. Here we go. Right. So this is it. It's the electric, and it's got the cutter wire on it, and obviously you can just go along and cut your polystyrene. A lot easier, not a lot of mess, just quite nice. And we've moved on, so we've now got these sections around there, not fitted yet, but they've all been cut out, so when the mud rock goes on top and it smooths it down, this is a good base for it. It's also a good base for when you're going to push trees into it, because it's a bit solid and you can just push the tree straight in. You've got something a little bit solid for it to go into. First rule of using mud rock: be prepared. Cover everything up that you don't want it to go onto. Secondly, be prepared with the mud rock itself in different sizes, as I've got here. Just in case you've never used mud rock before, it is a bandage with plaster of Paris in it, and when you dip it in water, the plaster of Paris starts to melt. You then put it onto your surface and it sticks to your surface and forms a shape. Easy as that. Well, this is the result of a good 2 or 3 hours work. I couldn't believe how long it took me. But that's most of it's still slightly wet, but that's with the bandage on the polystyrene. Now I found bandages and I thought they were working well until I opened this new pack, and that particular brand, I don't know where I got it from. I've had it about 3 or 4 years, but it works so well and so quick. Whereas the other bits and pieces I had in my bag, my box I mean, well, I couldn't say they worked very well at all. It's now been 24 hours since I did all this, and as you can see, we've got a problem, because some of it just hasn't stuck at all. I really haven't got a clue why, but it's no good. So I've got to redo quite a lot of it. This bit here, now that was with the stuff that came out of the pack, which is possibly quite new. I've got a funny feeling that I might have been given some stuff that should have been good, and I don't know, just past its sell by date. I don't know if they ever had one. So we're going to redo it all, not all of it, little bits and pieces of it, tomorrow. Okay, I've decided to do a different strategy. I'm not going to put more of the bandage on there. I'm going to try and stick it, the stuff that's loose here and has come off to go back on, I'm going to try and stick it on with PVA and hope it goes hard then. You know, I've been thinking about the scenery for this model railway, this section here, which is the deserted or disused track on the bridge, for so many months. And when I got cracking at the weekend and starting to do the plaster of Paris on the polystyrene, I thought everything was great. But of course, when we get to this section here, the track, excuse me, the track, right, that's a sleeper. So the sleeper is very close to the wall, and I'm thinking to myself, what scenery am I going to put in there? None. can't do it. So what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to cut all of the scenery away right up to the far end. That's all going to come down, the whole lot, and then I'm going to do this. I have these and I'm going to paint them a different colour, but I'm going to end up with a wall all the way along, whoops, right up to there. So the wall is going to give me more scope for putting a small amount of greenery at the back coming over the top of it. The wall's got to be repainted because I don't like the colour it is at the moment, but I'm going to move it so instead of having that much space at the back, I should possibly end up with 5mm maybe, so I can just put a little bit of vegetation in there that might drip over the front, or just build up the vegetation slightly at the back, except before we sort of paint the back however we're going to paint it, because I don't know. So my hope is that that will look pretty good. There we have it. 3 hours of construction, 3 minutes of destruction. And so now we're left with the wall as it's possibly going to look like, and of course there's enough room at the back there, nothing touching, so that's gonna be good. And these things are just plaster. That's all they are, little mould plaster. So smashing. I've still had trouble with the bandage going over this section here, so time to redo it again. I've stopped putting PVA on to see if that worked, so I'm going to do a little experiment. I've got green water, so mixed up a bit of paint with water, and I'm going to dip these in and see what happens. So we've got one piece nice and wet, and now I'm going to try and get it to go in there. There's a little brush. Poke that down there like that. That can go in there. That can go on top of that like that. And then I'll bring another piece down across there, and we'll do that in a second. Let's see, I'll get this bit here first. I think the green water test is a total failure. I can't see it's making any difference. Well, a very slight difference, but we're going to paint it anyway afterwards, so I can't see a real reason for it. So we now put that one in there. We take this one down to there. Gives us a bit of contour, which is nice, and because this will be blocked up completely when we have that there, so we won't see any of that. There'll be a plant of some sort will appear out of the top of there, and as you can see, so there we go. That's how you can disguise things like that. So as far as that's concerned, I'm going to leave all this to dry now, and don't touch it again. Oh, you touch it again and it moves, so just don't do it. I'm just going to tuck those down there a bit better for when we put a paint line on. But see, I'm doing what I said not to do, aren't I? But never mind. Okay, there we go. 24 hours time, we'll see what's happened. So in 24 hours time it dried nice and hard, which is what we wanted, and now we're just painting it brown at the moment before we put rocks on, and before we put grass on and trees on and bushes, etc, etc. All done. Hey presto. Well, I know what I want to achieve here. I want to achieve a rock face very similar to the natural rock face that I put on that side, which went very well. This is now a different type of rock that I've got hold of, and I'm really not sure how I'm going to achieve it. I've stuck these two pieces in place first of all, just by using some filler, that was all. And I'm going to try and put that in that position. I'm thinking that might look good sort of there, and other bits and etc. So it's going to be hit and miss because I haven't got a lot of stone, and I'm going to have to rely on a lot of foliage. I think what I might be doing, I might get this where I want it and then cut away some of the polystyrene behind so it's set back into the rock a bit better. But again, it's going to be hit and miss because I'm not really sure how I'm going to achieve what I have in my mind. I put a pencil mark around where the stone goes, and I've cut down and along and around, and now I need to not remove all of it. So the only thing I have in my possession, some modelling tool this is, and the whole idea is I'm hoping that I can do this and remove that piece just so the rock slips back a bit further. Oh, I see. Okay, right, I think I shall do some more and let you see what it's like in a minute. So there's the hole, and this is the bit of rock that's supposed to be in there, and I'm quite pleased with that. That's worked out quite nicely, because instead of the rock being stuck onto the outside, it's now sort of in it, shall we say, in a little bit better, and I think it seats nicer with some vegetation around it. I think it'll look quite good. I'm quite pleased with that. Just got to do the rest of it now. One of the strangest things about being retired is that I haven't got any time for anything. I don't know how I managed to get to work, but this construction of this corner where I was putting the rocks in and all of the vegetation, I've got so far, and I just haven't been down here for a good couple of weeks, and I really wanted to get on with it. So I've decided I'm going to finish this video now, and we'll do a part 2, and I'll list on the bottom of what the part 2 is going to be called, so to make it easier to look it up. So this is how far we've got so far. I've just put the vegetation around there just to sort of give an idea of what it might look like in the end. So there we go. I'm going to sign off now and finish the video.